Hello there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Nirav. In this session, I'll be doing Elliott Wave analysis for Bitcoin. I'll be looking at possible Elliott Wave patterns and targets for the same. So right now here on screen, as you can see, we have the daily chart of BTC USD. And I'll be starting my counts from this point 23/8/2015. The reasoning for which I'll discuss later in the video, as that is sort of clear and not of primary importance. Before moving further, I'd like to point out few of the basic rules of Elliott Wave, because most likely some of the viewers are not familiar with these principles and not familiar with my previous work, which is based mostly on indices and commodities. So I'll just make this clear that Elliott Wave says that if a market is in an uptrend, that is moving in the upward direction or bullish, then it will do so in sort of 5 waves. Among these 5 waves, we call the first, the third and the fifth as motive waves, and the second and the fourth are called the corrective waves. The first, third and fifth are always in the direction of the one larger trend, that is up, and the corrective ones, as their name suggests, correct and move in the direction opposite to the one larger trend, that is downward direction. So that's the rough structure in which these markets move. And if I try to imply this rough structure on this chart of BTC USD, then starting from this point, which is our point of reference, we seem to have wave 1 over here, wave 2 over here, complying with the rough chart, and comparing the wave 3 with the rough chart, we have the wave 3 over here on the real one. And one more characteristic trait that is important to note at this point is this motive waves 1, 3 and 5. If we magnify them, that is see them on lower time frames, we will find that they have 5 waves of themselves within it. So for instance, if we magnify this wave 3, so say this is just the wave 3 from here, right? And if I magnify it, then I will see that something like this is inside of it, and we can label it with another numbering, like let's say Roman letters. And similarly, wave 1 will also have 5 waves within it, and wave 5 will also have 5 waves within it. So what I've done on this chart is I've tried to count out the waves 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 of this wave 3, that is this bracketed 3. And there are basically two possibilities that are coming out at this point in time. The first one is suggesting that this bracketed wave 3 is most likely complete over here. There is the top of the wave 3. And the second one is suggested that this wave 3 is not over here, but possibly over here. Then the 4 will be over here, and there will be one more leg up for the wave 5, which will complete the single bracketed 3. So that means this single bracketed 3 is either complete over here or is still continuing for one leg up and will complete above this high. Now that is basically not important at this point in time, because at this point in time we are in this wave 4 correction. So if we go with this red count at first, we will have wave 4 bracketed red here, and after that wave 4 bracketed red, we will have again one leg up for wave 5 bracketed. Now in the other scenario, that is if this wave 3 bracketed is still continuing, we will have wave 4 of one lower degree, and then wave 5 for completing the wave 3 bracketed here. So basically both the scenarios are saying one main thing over here, is that we have this correction, and after this correction we should have one leg up, which should take us higher than the last high, which was around 21,000 or something like that. So that's the basic theme which this rough outlook of this Elliott Wave structure reveals here, that we have one leg up remaining in this market. And this is not sort of very crude or very precise, but that just gives a general idea to the investors that most likely, if this analysis is correct, we should see one leg up in this market. Now to move further in this analysis, I'll assume this red wave count is going on, bracketed 3. So we'll look at this bracketed 4, and we'll look at this bracketed 4 on a lower time frame. So now our point of reference will be this high, and we'll look at this particular structure within this circle, this green circle. So now the thing about corrective structures is that they are not as simple as motive waves. For instance, motive waves, as I just discussed, will have 5 waves in itself all the time, right? But the corrective structures are not that simple. They can have various different forms like zigzags, flats and triangles, or complex correction will have a combination of those. And this particular scenario, we seem to have a combination of those. So I'll discuss what I have here on the chart right away without going much into the detail of the basics of corrective structures. This video won't be enough for that anyways, even if it were all or long. So what I have here is an ABC down, which is completing this wave W, followed by wave X, and followed by a supposed ABC which should appear in the future. That's the first hypothesis or the first scenario. The second one I'm assuming is this ABC down again, followed by a triangle which will something like 1 2 3 4 and then 5, and this will complete the X, and this should again be followed by ABC down. Now the difference comes in at this point. Now we have the X wave as a flat, and a flat is sort of this kind of move. This is, if I draw it again, it will be something like A, B and then C. So that's what a flat looks like. So in this case it will be this A, this B which is still going on, and this C which is supposed to go up in the future, which will be over here completing this X wave. That's why I labeled this as an X flat, because we are assuming that because generally in a flat wave we'll see the last leg or the C leg will come up to the high or the A wave top, right? That's why I've labeled it C and followed by an X flat. Now if we move to the second scenario, which is of a triangle will form an A, basically a triangle will be having 5 waves, which will be called an A, B, C, D and E. So this is supposed to be the A of the triangle, this is supposedly the B. Then we will have a C, a D and then E. Now the thing about the triangle is that this C leg will not cross above the high of the A. So that's the basic theme of the basic differentiation point at this point in time we have between a triangle and a flat. But the theme remains the same. Once the flat is complete over here, or the triangle is complete somewhere over here, we should see a leg down from here, and if this was a triangle we should see leg down from here. So basically the theme remains the same, that after this corrective structure is complete at this point or this point, we should see a down move. Now that's something we'll discuss now. We'll look at the rough structures or rough targets for this down leg. And one more thing I like to point out here is that these are the basic patterns I came up with. The other scenario, which is too bullish and I don't think is playing out right now on this chart, is that this is the W complete over here, this is the X already complete over here, and this is the Y going down. So that is too bullish, because if that's the scenario playing out, then we will be having what? A straight up leg move or upward movement from this point onwards as soon as this Y wave is completing. And once the Y wave completes, we should see a strong impulse. Now I think it is not the scenario, because X wave should consume a bit more time. It generally does, not a rule or anything. So that's why I'm more biased towards this outlook, this hypo one, and the second one, which is the scenario of the triangle, which I'll say as hypo 2. Now if this Y wave thing is the case, then we will have to look at it at some other point. That is, we have to let some price action proceed, and then it should give us some hint that it has already completed the whole structure here. And basically the hint will come too late in time, because even if it's complete over here as a Y, then we will have a sort of move up, which we can again assume as this A, B, C going up for a flat. So until this point we won't really know if this is going up for the C of the flat, or if it's going up after completing the whole structure at this bottom point. So that we don't have any clarification on. But what I see right now here from a shorter time perspective is that this A, B, C structure, this wave B is about to get completed over here. Now the thing about this wave B is this is a sort of a zigzag move, and a zigzag will have 5 3 5 structure in itself. So if we look at it here, we are in the first 5 is complete over here, 3 is complete over here, and the next 5 is going down here. So next 5 already has done the first wave, the second wave, the third wave, the fourth wave. What I think is that it will form another low, most likely at the lower point of this channel line, and once this low is formed, we should see another move up. Now the thing is, if this B is complete with just this simple structure of ABC, then we should see a break above this channel line straight towards the high of the wave C. And if it's still continuing as a double zigzag, we will then see again a continuation of something like this before it moves up for either the flat or falls down for a triangle. Now that's enough for that analysis. I'll just go to a lower time frame to see what's going on in this particular region of the chart. So what we have here is the wave 1 completing at this point, 2 here, and then 1 2 3 4 5 4 3, and up for the wave 4, and down, expected down move for 5. So the trading opportunity will come if we see a support on this trend channel, the lower part of the channel or the lower channel line, and the short-term trading opportunity for longs can be taken over there. However, if we talk about the bigger picture, that is the rough scenario in which I discussed previously, that we seem to have one leg up remaining, what I think is that this wave 4 will complete in the price territory of this white zone we have here, which is 5,000 to 3,000. I know it's sort of broad, but the thing is that generally, by the way, I'm talking about this bracketed wave 4 which we discussed on the higher time frame chart, on the daily chart basically. So what I'm saying is that the generally wave 4 is a sort of a guideline that wave 4 will generally go in and into the price territory of the wave 4 of one lesser degree. So if this is the bracketed red wave 4 after this wave 3, then this wave 4 will generally end within the price territory of this wave 4, which is of one lower degree. If I were to explain this concept on a rough chart, then let's say this is 1 2 3 4 and then 5. So what I'm saying is that this wave 4 will land in the price territory of the previous wave 4 of one lesser degree. So if we look at this wave 3 on a lower time frame, then we will find it has 1 2 3 4 5 waves in itself, and this is the wave 4 of the wave 3, right? This is the 1, the 2, the 3, and this is the 5. So this is the wave 4. I'm saying if we project an area of this wave 4, then generally what happens is that this 4 of higher degree will end in the price territory of this wave 4 of Roman numeral. So if we see that on this actual chart, we have this wave 4 of one lower degree and this wave 4 of one higher degree. Let me change it to double bracketed, single bracketed 4 in red, so that things are a bit simple to understand. So now that we have the basic reasoning, this zone is coming around 5019, or let's just say 5000, and the lower part is coming around 3000 something, maybe lesser than 3000 a little bit. So I'll just roughly assume it that it's coming in the 5000 to 3000 zone. So what I'm saying is, whatever the pattern might be, maybe it's an X going up and then going down as an ABC. That's our hypo one, by the way. Or maybe it is the triangle going like this, right? Like A, B, and then C, D, and E, ending over here, and then an A, B, C. What I'm saying is most likely I'm assuming right now is that it will end somewhere in this price range of 5000 to 3000. And looking at this chart right now, it's most likely it will go as a flat sort of formation if it has to end within this 5000 to 3000 region. Or please also note that this is a guideline that wave 4 will end in the price territory of wave 4 of one lesser degree. It's not a rule. So theoretically it can go lower, but we are here to discuss probabilities, and the probabilities favor this price zone. So if this rough analysis is to play out, that is the hyper one, then we should see a price structure something like this, followed by an ABC like this, and then we should see the bracketed 5 again up like 1 2 3 4 5, something like this. Now once this low is formed, we can look for the targets or wave 5, which should be more precise, because right now even if I try to analyze some rough targets, then we don't have the end of wave 4, and then everything will be a bit too probabilistic or too in the air. So at least we'll wait for the completion of this wave 4 and let's see how it proceeds. Just to conclude, I'm assuming that 3 is complete over here as a bracketed degree, 4 single bracketed, and there should be a wave 5 which should take out the high of the previous wave 3 bracketed. So it should take out the 21,000 or whatever the last high was. And once we have the wave 4 bracketed complete, which I am assuming should complete in 3000 to 5000 zone, then we can predict some rough targets for this wave 5 high. So that's all for this particular analysis. And yeah, one last thing I'll just like to remind here is that we also had the most bullish scenario, in which we were assuming that this X wave was complete right about here as a sort of a zigzag, and if that was the case, then this was definitely the last Y wave going down. If that's the case, then probably we won't even see the price entering this region, but I don't really think that's the case. That's still, staying on the guard and considering all probabilities is what Elliott Wave is about. So that was my rough analysis and long-term view on Bitcoin. Let's see how it plays out, and if it follows this particular pattern or this particular analysis, then we'll wait for the completion of this wave 4.